Right, so I just want to do a quick video on this scumbag. You guys probably would have seen by now in the news about this Rochdale grooming gang leader who's supposed to have been deported after his conviction for grooming gang activities of child sexual trafficking and whatnot. And he's still here. Now, in the Daily Mail, the Daily Mail caught up with his story, and they approached him and spoke to him. And what I read really got my blood boiling. So I know I'm not the only one. So convicted Rochdale grooming gang boss 51 brags he won't be deported to Pakistan. Now he tells me he's surprised that he hasn't been deported to Pakistan 6 years after a jail release. 6 years. So would have been Theresa May at the time, would have been the Home Secretary, I believe. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, here he is, supposed to have been deported after his conviction, and here he is in Lidl's car park, walking around, shopping full to the brim. Got a trolley there full to the brim with shopping. We're probably paying for that. He's no doubt on benefits, right? Me and you, our tax money is going towards this. I'll choose my words carefully because I don't want to get banned from YouTube. So you get the picture, right? Now the point is, here he is. He's free to roam. He's walking around. There could be kids in that car park. He's supposed to have been deported. Now, what happens now if he molests another child? He's supposed to have been deported, and he hasn't. He shouldn't be in a Lidl's car park in Rochdale. He should be in Pakistan buying goat's milk in Karachi. He should not be in this country. He's supposed to have been deported. And here he is, as free as a bird. Walking around. This does my nutting. Absolutely winds me right up. I can't. It's disgusting. So, old Abdul here, he was jailed for 6 years for his role in the Rochdale sex trafficking ring. We call them grooming gangs, don't we? Yeah. Well, something like that. In 2015, him and two others were told by the Home Office they'll be stripped of their citizenship and to be deported after their convictions in 2012. However, 6 years later, he's still here. He's shopping in bloody Rochdale. He hasn't even been deported. What is our country coming to? It's an absolute lie. It's a joke. What kind of example are our government setting? Oh, you can come here, you can sexually abuse our children on a mass scale, by the thousands, and we're threatened to deport you. But don't worry, we won't really do that. So he's still, he's still living in Rochdale. I just, my mind I just can't believe it. So he's still living freely in the Greater Manchester town, to the fury of victims, campaigners, and local residents. He arrogantly admits that he even is surprised there's not been a move to get him out of Britain. Well, I think you and the rest of the country, mate. Asked by the Mail Online if he was surprised if he had not been deported, he admitted yes. When he was pressed again, whether he thought he'd be removed soon, he added, "No, I don't think so." No, I don't think so either, mate. I think you'll be here for a bloody long time. I don't think you'll be going anywhere, unless people put some pressure on old Priti Patel. You'll be living off our benefits and roaming our streets for a few more years to come, if not for the rest of his life. Absolute joke. State of it. So, on top of this, we now got a Labour MP, Tony Lloyd. He's now sticking his oar in, saying the failure to deport him showed grossly unacceptable inaction. Grossly unacceptable inaction. Oh, the irony is coming from a Labour MP of all people. They allowed this grooming gang stuff to take place for years, for donkey's years. All these girls have been raped, and they kept it. You know, they swept it under the carpet. They didn't want to talk about it. You know, and when a Labour MP finally plucked up the courage to speak out about it, well, we'll get to her in a minute. But these people make you laugh, don't they? Absolutely wind up. What a wind up. So he got 6 years. So yeah, he got 6 years after being convicted of conspiracy to engage in sexual activity with children under 16 and trafficking for sexual exploitation. But he was freed on license in November 2014 after just 2.5 years in prison. 2.5 years. 2.5 years in prison. He was sentenced to 6 years and he done 2.5 years. And he was told he was going to be deported, and he hasn't. This geezer's rubbing his hands because he's laughing at us. He's absolutely laughing at us. I mean, this country is an absolute joke. When it comes to paedophiles, there's so many nonsense in our government and in our, our judicial system with judges and whatnot. You know, they're all intertwined with lords, and we'll get to that as well in a bit. There's even a lord involved with this. This is disgusting. So he lost his appeal in 2018 against ruling to strip him of his citizenship. But it's understood he still has a right to further appeal against deportation before it can be enforced. So I bet he does. And I bet on that one he's successful. All the lefties will come out and be like, it's against his human rights. We've got to keep this dirty paedophile here. We love paedophiles. We love grooming gangs. We cannot deport him. You can see it already. They do it all the time. This is the country's gone down the pan. You know, the country's gone down the pan. Forget Brexit. You know, it all smoke and mirrors. You know, we've got this fake Tory government, this FD government. You know, and the lefties will say, "Oh, they're right wing and they're far right." If they really were far right, we wouldn't be seeing people like this in our country, would they? Bang, they'd be gone straight away. See you later. Anyway, so yeah, just want to touch on this woman here. If you haven't heard of her, Maggie Oliver. So she was a former Greater Manchester police officer. She quit for the lack of inaction that was going on with the grooming gangs, and you know she heard about what's going on. She said the sight of him makes her blood boil. You're not the only one, sweetheart. It makes our bloody country, or most of the country anyway, blood boil. She said the victims have been treated disgracefully. He's carrying on as if he's done nothing wrong. Yeah, you're not wrong. He's just walking around and he's free as a bird. You know, like I said, he's probably on benefits. His missus on benefits. He's living life of Riley at our expense. Yeah, so she went on to say that the victims see the public and the victims see the criminal justice system failing them. Sadly, it doesn't surprise me he hasn't been deported. It doesn't surprise me he hasn't been deported. It doesn't surprise me at all. But hopefully things will change. We've got a campaign running. I'll leave a link below the video. So we're going to do a letter protest. So we're sending Pree Patel as many letters as we can, encouraging her to deport him. You know, if we do these online protests, you know, these online petitions, the government ones, you know, we've seen what happened with the last one to do with grooming gangs. They just simply removed it, but they can't remove thousands of letters being sent. Yeah, so if Pree Patel gets hit with thousands of letters, and you know the postman's turn up with sacks and sacks of letters, they're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to do something about it. So yeah, I'll leave a link below that. So make sure you sign a petition, download the letter, and send the letter in. So yeah, like I said, he was jailed in 2012. Yeah, and this scandal was made into a BBC TV drama. I mean, how fitting, eh? Paedophiles and the BBC seem to go hand in hand, don't they, really? Yeah, so the Home Office spokesman said the case has been reviewed recently and they intend to update the victims through proper channels when we can. So when we can. It's only been 6 years. It's only been 6 years. And he's still here. We did say we would deport him, but, you know, well, these things happen. Well, Absolute joke. Country is an absolute joke. It boils my blood when I see stuff like this. Really does. People must look at this country and think, what a soft touch, what an easy touch. You can go there, you can abuse as many girls as you want. You'll get 6 years in prison. You'll do 2.5. We'll tell them to get deported, but we won't actually deport you. You can carry on. You can crack on, mate. Yeah, joke. Absolute joke. And here's some of the grooming gangs members. Here he is there, top left. We won't talk about what the similarities are with all these gangs. We already know. There was a grooming gang report, wasn't there, that was put out, and the conclusion came to that it was 85% Asian. We know there were Somalians and others that were involved, and we all know what the connection is. Fortunately, we're not allowed to say it. I'm not allowed to say it. The video would get removed, and I'll probably get banned again from social media. So in August 2014, the J report, not my report, the J report concluded that an estimated 1,400 children had been sexually abused in Rotherham between 1997 and 2013 by predominantly British Pakistani men. Now that brings me to the lovely Sarah Champion. Now, it took her a while to acknowledge the problem and, pluck up the courage to speak out. But eventually, after a bit of pressure from UKIP activists, Labour were up against the ropes. And Sarah Champion, she did the right thing. She spoke out about it, and she did an article in The Sun saying that British Pakistani men are raping white girls, and we need to face up to it. Well, she received a lot of backlash from this, as you can imagine. She was dropped by Labour from the shadow cabinet, and she received death threats and all sorts. But good on her for plucking up the courage and speaking out in the end, but this goes deep with politicians. We've got Lord Ahmed of Rotherham. He's also now on a court case, which was due, I believe, last month or the month before. But it keeps being delayed because of the coronavirus pandemic. They keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Originally, there was a case brought forward that him and his brother had sexually assaulted 2 young boys in the 70s. But it's recently transpired that, he also has taken advantage of vulnerable women. So, just a little read up of him, in case you're not too familiar with old Lord Ahmed of Rotherham. For some of you viewers who are from abroad, Lord Ahmed of Rotherham is a British politician of Pakistani origin, former member of the House of Lords. He was created a life peer in 1998 on the recommendation, here we go, of the then Prime Minister Tony Blair. Who would have thought it, eh? Oh, Tony Blair. Ahmed sat on the House until his retirement in 2020 after being found guilty by the Labour Conduct Committee of sexually exploiting a young woman. Many of these political activities relate to the Muslim community, both in the UK and abroad. I mean, this goes to show how deep the rabbit hole goes in Rotherham. We had the grooming gang report, they're covering up what's going on. It's outrageous. And there's a certain person who we can't mention his name. We know who he is. Look what happened to him. He spoke out about all this, and his life got turned upside down. But the reason I'm doing this video is because obviously this has now come to light again in the papers, and just goes to show what a disgraceful situation it is there. This guy's just walking around, and we've got lords, we've got bloody lords that are involved in the sexual exploitation of young women as well. And on top of that, we've got Labour MPs sticking their oar in about matey not being deported. all this went on under a Labour government, under Labour watch. No local councils all run by Labour, and they covered it up. Really, it just really winds me up. But yeah, just watch out for this guy. Google up his name, Lord Ahmed of Rotherham. Check him out. He's got a court case coming up soon. Keeps being postponed. Hopefully, he's got dual citizenship, and we might be able to, put him up for deportation as well. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like and share. Show your support for free speech. Yeah.